I really need to chill out. That feels sort of irreverent to say, considering America is currently in the throes of a pandemic, and the most responsible thing we can do is sit at home and chill out. But we all know that's not how this works, especially if you're in a creative field. Every second of free time needs to be monetized. Whenever you aren't working on a project, or marketing yourself, or buying new equipment, you are falling behind. This mindset is agonizing and poisonous, at least in the short term. I often feel like I'm working not out of my desire to execute an idea, but out of fear that I'm wasting my life. The catch with this thought, as I'm sure you all know, is that it's wrong. We all know that our worth is not directly tied to the things we make. We know we are deserving of admiration and affection. It just doesn't always feel that way. Being able to relax is feeling more and more like a learned skill than anything natural. The mind is always racing, dwelling on deadlines, pining for progress, rummaging for relief. Finding a space where you can well and truly settle feels impossible, sometimes. Luckily, I have learned a couple ways to slip out of my self-imposed restraints. One of them is camping. Nature is purifying, and I prefer living by the position of the sun instead of the hands of a clock. Another is writing. It gives me purpose. The other one is Red Dead Redemption 2. I became interested in the idea of video games as relaxing activities after watching a few videos by Satchell Drakes. He has explored interactive media's capacity for Zen and Hygge, which is a philosophy of coziness and comfortability. The idea is a bit backwards. How can an art form that requires active participation effectively communicate stillness? I recommend watching Satchell's videos for a more direct answer. I will be looking at Red Dead 2 as an activity that is both fulfilling and psychologically calming. The obvious starting point when discussing comfortable games is Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, and maybe Minecraft. Games in which you do mundane, familiar things: fishing, farming, shopping, socializing. I enjoy these games. I love little life simulators. Not necessarily because I'm trying to escape reality, but because the stakes are low and there are plenty of easy dopamine triggers. Like, Stardew Valley is hardly ever frustrating. Sometimes I have a hard time catching a particular fish, or I forget to harvest my turnips, but I'll get over it. These games are all rose-colored, and while that makes them charming, it really lowers the ceiling as far as real emotional impact. Red Dead 2 contains all of those real-to-life affairs. You gotta feed your cowboy, you gotta bathe your cowboy, you gotta brush your horse, you gotta steal pocket watches, you gotta hunt alligators. But you also have to exist in a meaningful way. You, Arthur Morgan, are part of an interconnected, gritty open world. Like most of Rockstar's games, each aspect of the world, from the towns to the wildlife to the weather, is specially crafted to amplify the player's capacity for immersion. It feels like, when you turn off the game, everything keeps on going without you. Now, RDR2 is a deeply flawed game. I would love to talk to you all about it in the comments or on Twitter, but this isn't a review. I don't foresee myself doing any traditional reviews on this channel. I'm not terribly concerned with convincing you all to play a certain game. I'm more into appreciation and examination. One of the things I think this game does very well is build a world in which you feel like you can make a tangible impact. This is what takes it above the other titles we have mentioned. While riding around Red Dead 2, you constantly find opportunities of importance. On one trip from Saint Denis to Valentine, you can stop the Lemoyne Raiders from robbing a coach, assist a circus ringleader in finding his lost animals, save a man's life by sucking poison out of his leg, break a prisoner out of transport, win a sharpshooting contest, and you probably take out a few O'Driscolls on the way too. Stuff like this happens all the time in this game. I get it. Go outside, my dad would say. Video games are tools for wish fulfillment. You can do way more extreme and unimaginable things than being a cowboy.
I think that's exactly the point. I'm not a wizard or the chosen one or an android. I'm just a person trying to do what I think is right.
This also creates a strange parallel with the player character and Arthur Morgan, which serves to deepen the game's bond with the idea of purposeful meniality. Arthur is a lifelong outlaw. He's robbed, fought, and killed more people than he can count. The player gets different opinions of Arthur's past and personality from his fellow gang members, as well as Arthur himself. Protecting his gang and making money are Arthur's top priorities, but he's learned that there's no pleasure in the life of a criminal. The second you start to enjoy killing innocent folks is the second you become a beast. This, of course, does not define who the player will be.
Games like these, RPGs with non-blank slate characters, often suffer from dissonance issues. The motivations of a player never perfectly line up with the motivations of a predetermined character. Ordinarily, that makes it hard to roleplay, but in this case, I find it creates an interesting dynamic that I don't see in a lot of other games.
While playing, I don't think of myself as Arthur Morgan, a man with a complex, conflicted, and torturous life. I am something much simpler and more cozy. Maybe something like a conscious. This is a personal reading into the situation and probably doesn't ring true for most people, but I see some of myself in Arthur. He tries to do good, but at his core, Arthur believes that he is irredeemably bad. What's worse is he seems to be the only one who genuinely believes that. Part of me hopes that if I keep doing selfless and self-sacrificing things in the game, maybe, eventually, Arthur will get it through his big dumb head that he's not as doomed as he thinks he is. One of my favorite poems is Shiftless by Raymond Carver. I never liked work. My goal was always to be shiftless. I saw the merit in that. I like the idea of sitting in a chair in front of your house for hours, doing nothing but wearing a hat and drinking cola. What's wrong with that? Drawing on a cigarette from time to time, spitting, making things out of wood with a knife. Where's the harm there? Part of the appeal is in aspiration. Finding peace in shiftlessness, for me, is an oxymoron. The idea of it is like romantic, but I just don't know if that's a state I'll ever be able to achieve. Peace comes to me in action. I think that's why the idea of Zen in video games was so intriguing to me. It felt right, like discovering a band that you instantly connect with. I grow through performance and helping people. I remember on one ride, I had a man run up to me, bloodied and beaten, and he said that men had broken into his house and tried to kill him and his wife. He had escaped and ran off to find help. Please, go and save my wife, he begged. It took me 30 seconds to find his house, maybe 5 seconds to kill both of the intruders, and his wife told me I could take their life savings as a reward. This is a life-defining moment in the real world. I did it in less than a minute and casually returned to what I was doing before, sturgeon fishing. Look, I'm not an idiot. Okay, I am an idiot, but I can tell the difference between a video game and real life. I know those aren't real people, and that doesn't totally shatter the illusion. How do any of us have a meaningful relationship with art if saying something like, that's not actually the night sky, that's just a bunch of paint smeared on a canvas, can have meaning?
Art demands that we engage with it. You have to buy a ticket if you want to get on the ride. When I'm making curry for my Pokemon, I want it to be good, not because you get a slightly better experience bonus, but because I like my Pokemon. And I want them to be happy. You can call that naive, but I'd rather enjoy my life than live in the sterile hellscape world of a cynic.
Let's get back to Animal Crossing. That game is habitual, soothing like the reaching and pulling of the tide. Red Dead is dirty and hard and a bit janky. I've learned that relaxation does not come in peace, but in abandonment of the self. What feels truly freeing is not just becoming a different person, but being a person of consequence. Not to get too big for a gaming YouTuber here, but one of the cardinal motivators of human action is the desire for impact. Here's a hypothetical. You're getting into jogging. You're trying to lose weight and create a more positive self-image. If you go on a tiring run every day for 4 weeks, you are going to make progress, but not close to the pace you feel like you should. It's the right thing to do, but making a substantial difference in your life, and especially in large communities, takes an excruciating amount of time. In video games, progress and gratification is almost instant. You can meticulously track experience bars. You get HUD notifications whenever you are close to reaching a new milestone. There's hardly any fight in it. You press a few buttons and suddenly you've patched up someone's broken ankle and they're giving you 200 caps as a reward. Life is long and hard, and it's worth it, but damn if it doesn't make you doubt that a few times along the way. Art gives you a taste of what we do it for. I definitely need to chill out. I feel like I'm tumbling down a rocky hillside, crashing and conking into boulders, feebly grasping for something to steady myself, but I'm just moving too fast. We all need something that slows us down. I think we all need a Red Dead 2. Soon I will go back to playing challenging, thought-provoking masterpieces, but for now, I've got some arrows to improve and some treasure to find. This is Halloch, signing off. I didn't want this to end up on like a downer, like all of my other videos, but, you know, here we are. So, enjoy this for the next couple seconds. See you later.